Hello, everyone. We have already studied about particle size analysis. So today we shall discuss about consistency of clay soil. What do you mean by consistency? Whenever we are going to mix water with the soil, there is a consistency, right? The consistency will be there if you are going to mix the soil with the water, right? So for the first time, Atterberg, he was the Swedish soil scientist. In 1911, differentiated the stages of consistency. That is the liquid, plastic, semi-solid, and solid. As I told you, this condition is applicable in the field. The soil, let us take the example of rainy season. Suppose in rainy season, soil normally is in the form of a liquid, right? Soil is mixed with the water. But as the time passes, it moves from one stage to the other stage. We can say stages or states, right? Anything we can say. So it can move from liquid stage, then it comes to the plastic, then semi-solid and solid stage. The water content at which the soil passes from one of these states to the next have been designated as consistency limit, liquid limit, plastic limit, and shrinkage limit. What is the liquid limit? As I told you, when the soil is in liquid state or liquid stage, right? From the rainy season, what happens? The winter season comes, then summer season comes. So what is happening? As the time is going to pass, the water, the soil gets dry. Okay. So it passes from one stage to the other stage, from liquid stage to plastic stage to solid stage, and solid stage to semi-solid plastic stage to semi-solid stage, and then the solid stage. So solid, when it becomes solid, in the summer season. So rainy season, then winter season, and then the summer season. So you can see that how the soil, which was in the form of a liquid, passes from one stage to the other stage as the time passes, right? That means it is going to dry. The evaporation of the water takes place. Okay. So let us see this figure. What it says that when in the beginning the soil is in liquid state, okay, so when it passes from the liquid state to the plastic state, right, liquid state to plastic state, that means one state to the other state, what is going to happen? A time is going to occur at which the soil starts becoming to come under the plastic state. Okay, so it is a condition. It is a condition that the soil which is in liquid state, it just starts to come in plastic state. So what is that point, right? What is that moisture content, right, at which the soil passes from liquid state to plastic state? So that limit, that point, or that moisture content is called a liquid limit. You can see here in the graph, on the x-axis, moisture content is given, and on the y-axis, volume is given. Definitely, when the soil is in liquid state, you can see the volume is very high. You can say, if you are going to draw from this point, the horizontal line on this y-axis, the volume is high. But as the time passes, right, from right to left, you can see as the moisture content is going to decrease, the volume is also going to decrease. That means the soil is going to pass from one state to the other state, and a time is going to come, right? At that time, the moisture content is responsible for a particular limit, we can say. Okay. So the definition is also written here. Liquid limit is the water content at which soil changes from liquid state to plastic state. And always we have to remember that the liquid limit, plastic limit, shrinkage limit, all are expressed in percentage. Okay. Similarly, when the soil, as the time passes, right, the soil passes from plastic state to semi-solid state, a time is going to come at which whatever the moisture content is available, okay, whatever the moisture content is available in the soil, that moisture content is called as plastic limit. So you can see what we are going to understand here, that there is a change in a state, there is a change in stages as the time passes. So as there is a change, as the changes takes place, accordingly we are going to give the name of that particular moisture content, that is a liquid limit, plastic limit, and shrinkage limit. Similarly, when the soil passes from semi-solid state to solid state, that point of moisture content or that limit is called as shrinkage limit. But we have to remember here, in case of shrinkage limit, the volume does not change further. When we are going to dry the soil, right, what we are going to say, that this moisture content is called a shrinkage limit. Whenever you are going to dry further, the volume of the soil is not going to decrease. The volume remains constant at this point itself, right? So that moisture content is called a shrinkage limit. Here you can see that for any soil, we have to also test the liquid limit using the Casagrande apparatus. So whatever the liquid limit value you are going to get, and the plastic limit, the value you are going to get. So liquid limit minus plastic limit is called as PIE, plasticity index. Okay. And here shrinkage index is equal to plastic limit minus shrinkage limit. So PI is having very more importance in your the soil mechanics. Okay. The plasticity index. Based on the plasticity index, we can say whether soil is non-plastic or the low plastic category, or the medium plastic categories, or the high plastic category. So depending upon the plasticity index, we can differentiate the soil, whether the soil comes under the low plastic category or the it is a non-plastic. Definitely this sand is a non-plastic soil. So shrinkage limit, definitely it is tested for the soil, for the clay, which is having swelling and shrinkage properties. Okay. So next terminology we can see here, activities of clay. What do you mean by activities? Whenever a clay minerals are present in the soil, what it says there, the presence of even small amounts of certain clay minerals. What does it mean? Suppose you are going to collect the soil sample from two different locations. Okay. And suppose at one location kaolinite is mixed there, or we can understand in this way. Suppose you are going to collect a soil from any locations and divide into two parts. In one soil you are going to mix the kaolinite clay minerals, and in other soil, in other parts of the sample, you are going to mix the montmorillonite. So in that case, the activities of the clay will be different. Okay, depending upon the presence of the type of clay minerals, right? So what it says that even small amounts of certain clay minerals can have significant impact on the properties. The properties of the soil is going to change. So activities can be defined as it is a ratio of the plasticity index, right, divided by the percentage of the clay size particles, right? So how we can find out the PI, the activity of clays? See, once you know the PI, and then you know the value percentage of clay particles available in the soil, we can calculate the activities of the clay, activities of the soil. Activities, you see that this liquid limit, once you know the liquid limit and plastic limit minus plastic limit of any soil is the plasticity index. Okay. And by using the weight analysis method, or that is the hydrometer method or the mechanical pipette analysis method, or sedimentation methods, we can find out the percentage of clay particles. So once you know the PI and then C, we can calculate the activities of clay. As I told you in the beginning, clay containing kaolinite will have relatively low activity than the montmorillonite, right? In the same soil, if we are going to mix the kaolinite in one soil and montmorillonite in another part of the soil, the activity will change. The property of the soil will change, right? And that means the soil becomes active depending upon the type of clay minerals present in the soil. Next definition is the thixotropy of the soil. Thixotropy normally occurs in the flocculent structure soil, right? Flocculent structure. So partly due to the permanent destruction of the structure or reorientation of molecules in the adsorbed layers. Okay, let's suppose you are going to drive the piles inside the earth. What is going to happen? The structure of the soil, which is available surrounding the pile, is going to be disturbed. Okay, so the strength is also going to change, and the adsorbed layers, the water molecules, which is available surrounding the soil particles or clay particles, is also going to reorient. Is going to change the structure. Okay, so there is a loss of strength. The soil is going to lose their strength. However, remolded soil left undisturbed at the same water content, once the soil had been disturbed, okay, but as you know, there is a word healing. So as the time passes, even after disturbance also, again, the structures are going to form, healing takes place, and the reorientation of the adsorbed water molecules, right, takes parts in the regain of the strength of the soil. So reorientation again going to take place, right, at the same water content. That means regain part of the strength due to the gradual reorientation of adsorbed molecules of water. This phenomenon of a strength loss and strength gain. A strength is going to be disturbed. A strength is going to be lost. But as the time passes, what is going to happen? The reorientation of the water molecules surrounding the clay particles take place, and at the same water content, okay, and the structure is also going to be changed. So that means the strength loss and strength gain with no change in volume or water is called the thixotropy. It is a Greek word. Thix means touch, and tropine means change. While touching the soil, the strength of the soil is going to be changed, right? But after certain time, again, strength is going to be gained, but it is not like original one. So next point is sensitivity of the clays. Sensitivity for many naturally deposited clay soil, the unconfined compressive strength is greatly reduced when the soils are tested after remolding without any change in moisture content. Suppose you are going to collect the undisturbed soil sample from the field, and the dead soil sample you are going to use for the testing of unconfined compressive strength. Okay, so whatever the values of compressive strength you are going to get for the undisturbed soil, okay, and the same soil is, suppose it is disturbed, and you are going to remold it. So what I'm trying to say here, if you are going to find out the compressive strength of undisturbed sample, suppose it is 3 kg per cm square, right, and the same soil you have remolded in the same shape, okay, and you are going to find out the compressive strength. In that case, it will be not like 3 kg per cm square, it will be 2.5 kg per cm square. So this property is called as sensitivity. Okay, so it is going to be reduced. The compressive strength for the undisturbed samples will be different, whereas in case of remolded sample, it will be lesser than the original. So degree of sensitivity we can also define as the compressive strength of the undisturbed sample divided by the remolded sample. Compressive strength of the remolded sample. That's as I told you, suppose you are going to get compressive strength of undisturbed sample is 3 kg per cm square. A remolded sample is 2.5 kg per cm square. So whatever the fraction you are going to get, that is called a degree of sensitivity. So thank you. This is all about your today topic.